Hi and welcome to Forbes India Beyond the Boardroom. This is Ushnota Paul, your host. This is a show where we have esteemed guests from all kind of fields, from successful businesses to films to sports. But we don't talk about their profession. We talk beyond that. How are they as people when they're not negotiating a multi-crore deal inside the boardroom or when the camera is off? We find out about their lives beyond that. Today, we have with us a guest who is undoubtedly one of the legends of Indian women's cricket and also one of the most successful skippers. She is currently the all-time leading run scorer for ODIs in the world. She has played more than 200 ODIs. We have with us India women's ODI captain Mithali Raj. Mithali, welcome to Forbes India Beyond the Boardroom. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
So Mithali, tell me, how was it? How were you like while growing up? Did you always love cricket?
Growing up, I think because I'm from the 90s, I'm the 90s kid, so I guess for me cricket was more of men cricketers, because back then media has only covered men's cricket, and they were more on television than the women's cricket. The women's cricket did exist for many years. Unfortunately, because of the coverage, there was no coverage. There was a lot of ignorance among people. So growing up, yes, I wasn't aware of women playing cricket in our country. But I guess even as a kid, I never wanted to get into sports. I was more inclined towards the cultural activities. Like I've learned Indian classical dance, Bharatanatyam for 8 years. So that was something I liked to get into, but cricket just happened somewhere on the way.
Oh, that's very interesting. Do you remember that moment when you picked up your first bat? Because like you said, you were a classical dancer, and from that, from the ghungru to the cricket bat, how was that transition like?
I don't remember much of it because I started cricket in 1992 when I was in the 5th grade. I think my dad wanted me to join the academy where my brother used to play cricket. So he actually was into cricket and he played good school level. So I used to tag along with him early in the morning, only to sort of, develop that habit of early rising. And I used to see boys there, but there was not even a single girl back then. It was an exclusive boys camp. I remember, every day coming in at 6 o'clock, and my brother's coach one day, he said, since the girl is coming every day, let me throw her some balls. And, probably I would have come across as a very promising talent for the coach. And he said, I think your daughter will become something if you invest the time to nurture her as a cricketer rather than your son. So that is that's what my dad told to me when I grew up. That's the backstory of it. And because it was an exclusive boys camp, so my dad joined me in my school. My school did have a ground, so we did have some young girls coming in and just playing the sport. So I enrolled myself into my school team. So that was how I started, and my dad actually thought of putting me into a professional academy.
Wow. Mitali, Tapsi Pannu is actually already playing you in your biopic called Shabash Mittu. Did she actually speak to you to get tips and insights about your life?
Well, I did meet her just once, and I think the meeting was something like, I realized that we are poles apart in terms of her nature, because I'm very calm and composed person. I don't talk much, whereas she's chirpy and energetic. She gets that sort of an energy when she is around. So, it was fun interacting with her. So the only thing that I told her is acting is a profession. but she needs to learn to bat the way I do. So probably with a sort of the style that I have, and probably then people will relate a lot more on television, the role that she plays. So she was a little nervous. I told her, like, batting is also a skill and it will take some time. You'll really have to work very hard.
So who were the cricketers? Like you mentioned, you were the 90s kid growing up, and that time men's cricket was like most popular. Who were the cricketers you grew up watching, and who were the ones that really inspired you along the way?
I guess back then, in Doordarshan, they always used to play on a loop the 1983 World Cup, which India won. And I started as an all-rounder. I was a medium fast bowler and an opening bat. So my coach showed me, Kapil Dev's a lot of, clips, like how he bowls and how he bats. So I think growing up, yes, the initial few years, he was my role model. I would look up to him. But then when I started to score a lot of runs and bowling took a backseat, when I turned into a pure batter, I looked up to Sachin Tendulkar as my role model, and clearly so, because he's also got a very long career, and having a longevity of that level and an international circuit, it defines an athlete's character and determination to go on.
And I read somewhere that you are compared to Tendulkar. I think they call you Lady Tendulkar for all the achievements that you have had. So that's great. Mithali, I also know that you are a bookworm. Is that a habit that's something that you inculcated since you were a child? You used to read a lot even then?
So I used to travel all alone, and we were not under BCCI. So when we were under WCI, we traveled a lot by train. So traveling from south to north usually takes 24 hours. So when you're on your own, so what do you do? I mean, how long can you actually listen to music? So I started to read books, and that interested me. And slowly I developed, reading. And there were times when I find the story very interesting. So when I'm playing on the field, sometimes I would like, let's finish the game quickly so that I can go back to the room and start reading.
Wow.
I realized, if that was the sort of interest that I developed of reading, then I should carry a book wherever I go. So I carry a book even if I'm going for a game, because if I get few minutes to myself, I open a book and read. So it sort of even helps me to calm my nerves, because the anxiety that you develop before a game, the butterflies and the excitement and the nervousness of an athlete, everybody have their own ways of dealing with it. So my way of dealing is, I pick up a book and start reading.
So what are you currently reading?
Well, I picked up this book from my friend's library last week. It's about Sidney Sheldon. It's written by Sidney Sheldon, The Stars Look Down, about a very ambitious woman and how she started from nowhere to sort of get into a field of construction in New York and Chicago, and how it was a male-dominant, very similar story, and how she makes her way into that cutthroat competition.
And if you have to give our viewers like top 5 must-read book recommendations, which ones would they be?
Well, I'm more inclined to fantasy genre. So I like Lord of the Rings, Shannara Chronicles. I read a book on The Man. It's not fantasy genre, but it's quite interesting, by Irvin Wallace. And Paths of Glory, of course. I think that is something that I've reread quite a few times.
I think that gives your fans quite a bit insight about what you are like when you're not on the cricket pitch. But apart from that, if you have to describe yourself, like how is Mithali Raj when the spotlight is not on her, she's not playing cricket, and you're home with your family? How are you as a person?
Well, I think because someone who travels a lot, I mean, I'm just happy to be at home, to have home food, be around my family, because my parents, like as I said, I started cricket quite early and started touring, because it's a team game. So your parents are not usually traveling with you. You're on your own with your teammates. So my parents effectively have never seen their daughter grow. Like each time I came back from a tournament just for a couple of days, unpack and pack things, and again I'm out. So that way they've really not seen me, and whatever little time we get, we spend at home. I continue to train my physical fitness because it's important to be, maintain a level of fitness as an international player, and find time to hang out with close friends. I'm not someone who socializes much like outside home, so I always end up going to a friend's place, having a quiet dinner or a lunch. Yeah.
So give us like three do's and don'ts to our viewers when it comes to fitness.
Well, don't just definitely not overdo things. One should definitely understand the way their body is. Everybody has a very different body type. People do crash diets, which I think is not advised. I, for one, eat everything. I indulge when I want to because I work out every day. I don't miss my training, and one should always try different things, because if you're just stuck to one regime or one plan, then your body gets used to it. So suddenly if you want to do a different movement, so the muscles are not ready for it, and that's when the injury happens. So I guess one is important that you keep changing your the way you train, and running is the best thing. I mean, it took me a while to understand, but my trainer does emphasizes a lot of running. I think that's the best way that one can lose calories, and also one can develop strong muscles and a good posture.
So on your cheat days, like you said, one of those rare cheat days, what's that one food that you keep going back to that you absolutely love having?
I love white rice, but I don't eat white rice that often. I'm more into brown rice and red rice. But if it's a cheat day, usually which is Sundays at my house, mama cooks white rice or fried rice. So the taste of a basmati rice is very different when you're eating brown rice and red rice, which absolutely has no taste.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes I indulge in sweets, like jalebi and stuff. I know it is very unhealthy, but I don't stop myself from when I have the urge to eat. I just take a little bit to just suffice that urge. Yeah.
And out of your mother's cooking, like you were mentioning, what is your favorite thing that your mom cooks?
I think she cooks the fish fry quite well. Because I come from South, so it's on a spicier side, but that's how we eat, with a little more masala and fried, and even the mutton.
And also Hyderabad is synonymous with biryani, right? They're very passionate about
Well, yes,
biryani.
but I think it is you need that art to you should know quite well how you prepare the Hyderabadi biryani.
Yeah.
But I think when I want to have that sort of a biryani, I have a couple of friends who really cook well. So I invite myself into their houses, like I'm coming over, so just cook that dish for me.
Mithali, do you remember the day you wore the national team's jersey for the first time? Do you remember that day?
Again, I would go back 21 years. It was in 1999, June, July, England tour. I was 16-year-old, and I don't remember much of that day. All I know is, as a young kid, I was quite burdened with the expectation of people when you're going on your first trip, playing for country.
And even now, after being in this profession for, like you said, almost 2 decades, when you come down to the pitch and there are people screaming out to your name, has that feeling changed over the years? Have you got used to it, or does it still give you the same kind of adrenaline rush?
Actually, I've been part of the the change, or say the evolution of women's cricket, from a time when people didn't know about women's cricket, when we played in empty stadiums, to a stadium today where obviously minus the last year, but until then, I guess the stadiums were filled with people who wanted to watch women's cricket. Yes, it took me a while to get used to people screaming my name, and wanted autographs, or people following me on social media, coming with the huge banners, like how they turn up for the men's game. So it was quite, you feel nice when finally women's cricket as a sport is being acknowledged by people around the globe. People do want to watch women play, and the sort of followers and the way people appreciated the T20 World Cup and the One Day World Cups, when people watched it on television, followed on social media, turned up to the stadiums with the young girls who were coming in to sort of support the Indian team.
Since you've seen the evolution, and now obviously women's cricket has a much better place in our country, like you said, you've seen that. What would your message be for these young girls today who are aspiring to be in the national cricket team someday? An advice that you wish someone had given you back then.
So I guess with the T20 Women's IPL in the coming years, the profession itself looks quite enticing for the parents to sort of get their girls into the sport if they are interested. So for a young girl in today's time, I think other than sort of motivating themselves, being honest and sincere to their skill, and working very hard, they have the best of facilities. They don't have to go about searching for an academy which will enroll them, like how I did, because every other academy in Hyderabad or anywhere in our country is open to enrolling young girls if they want to take up the sport. So I don't think they will struggle in terms of money or monetary benefits, facilities, or support of the parents. What they will probably need a lot more mentoring is in the distractions in today's time, that is the social media, because the social media literally takes you really high in one innings and then just drops you down again. So a lot of young players struggle with that sort of attention. The current players, the current youngsters need to be mentored in a way that the energy is channelized, so that it's productive and it helps the team and their careers.
True. Talking about social media, actually, do you interact with your fans over there? Do you read all comments and stuff?
Well, when initially, like 4-5 years back, I would go through what people are tweeting about and stuff like that. But once and when you endure trolls which are unnecessary and sometimes over the top stuff, you would rather not read those messages. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, I would believe.
Yeah.
Social media, you have your fan followers, you have a good fan base, but you also have people who would write you off for every small thing that they can pick and in what you do. So I think it's a balance. I mean, I would like to use it sparingly, where I would like to just share my positivity. But if there is any negative comments, I mean, I'm best to ignore it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not worth my time.
Great way of looking at it. So right now, obviously, Mithali, how is your routine like? Like a day in the life of Mithali Raj. What exactly does it look like on a regular day?
I go in the morning for my physical fitness, where a trainer takes care of it. And then in the afternoon, I have my skill set, where a batting coach looks into my technique and the way I bat. And in the evenings, if I get some time, I drop into friends' places, because I have a lot of friends in Bangalore. That's how it is. Like, as of now, for the couple of more weeks, that would be my routine.
Great. And since you said you love reading so much, I thought I'll ask you this question, that someday if you write an autobiography or someone writes a biography about your life, what would you think would be the ideal title for the book?
Well, actually, I am writing my autobiography, and the publishers are Penguin. It is due next year, and it's called Unguarded.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a really nice surprise and news for your fans who are watching this show. So, Mitali, what's next? Are you aiming for the ODI World Cup?
Well, yes. This year we actually had the One Day World Cup in March in New Zealand, which was now postponed by a year. That is 2022. We have the One Day World Cup again. It is in the same month, March. In the same venue, that is New Zealand. So yes, a one day World Cup is my goal. That's my vision for the next year. I'm looking at being my optimum best in the coming or in the future series.
Okay, great, Mithali. That was a pleasure chatting with you. I think the viewers got to know a little bit more about the Mithali Raj and how she is beyond the cricket pitch. And thank you so much for joining us on Forbes India Beyond the Courtroom.
Thank you for having me.